All right. Well, we are back here with Mr. Brad Connors with iWealth, and today we're talking about naming buckets, and particularly like if you got a bucket of money. So let's just use, let's say that somebody has set aside $10,000, right, and it's all sitting in their checking account. You want it to be in different buckets that are kind of allocated for different parts of their life, or maybe a daughter's graduation, or maybe a vacation, or whatever. How do you name that if it's all just sitting in one checking account? What are the tools that one can use for that?
Yeah, really good question, and probably one that I overlook because we take care of it for clients. Okay. First of all, if you have a college savings plan, there's these 529 plans that are out there. That's already named for you. If you have a 401k, it's already named for you. That's retirement. If you have an IRA. But what you're talking about is those additional funds. We've talked about like being intentional with your investments on what it's for. Yeah. And so, some of the things that we've saved for, help clients save for right now are second homes, a wedding fund, college funds, opportunity funds, European travel fund that's 10 years down the road, a pontoon fund, a roof fund for the cabin. I mean, we've got all these different things, right?
How do you manage that?
And so
somebody's not having you do it. Well, I guess option one is have you do that for them.
Well, but some people can do it on their own too. So anyway, you first have to get your head around like how much in what bucket and when do you need to use it, and then you match the risk to it, okay? So if it's to travel in Europe for your 25th wedding anniversary in 10 years from now, you can take some risk on that because you don't need it for 10 years. You name it and get that done. So anyway, you've got risk associated with the bucket and the intention of where it's going to go. But the how do you do it? So I have a travel fund, that we like to travel every year. That's sitting in a savings account, but it's named travel. So when you pull up my bank accounts online, you will see travel. And that's what that intention is for. Okay, so that's a simple one because we use it. It's sitting at the bank. That's that bucket. If it's a wedding fund or it's a European travel fund or whatever, wherever you invest your funds, you can name it. So you could have a joint account with you and your wife, but you would open up different sleeves and you would name it. So, it would be Brad and Trudy Connors dash European travel, Brad and Trudy Connors dash opportunity fund. And so when you get those statements every quarter in the mail, you're starting to track, your mind's starting to track with that. Yeah. And now you start to see those things grow. I've had people sit across from me and say, Brad, I think we finally got the wedding dress paid for, in their wedding fund. It's those type of things because now you're being intentional and you see it on your statement. So I think most investment firms can help you do it. We have one investment firm we use that actually gives a goal. Okay. So if you've got, you want $15,000 for that European travel in 10 years, you put 15 as your goal, you put 10 years in, put $1,000 in, and you start to put $100 a month, it'll start to track you towards that goal to see if you're going to make it in time or if you got the shortfall or whatever that is. So there's some really cool tools out there. And yes, people can do it on their own. There's other people that can help you too.
Can help figure it out. That's cool to see what the actual tools are. Any thoughts on like the app side of it? Because then people, I guess, what's your philosophy on that? Because if you have an app, then you're always going back and looking at it all of the time. Yeah. Is that kind of good for you mentally, or is it bad for you mentally because you're tracking maybe all of those different buckets, and because you have an app, then it's fun too. It's like social media. You're looking for the hit. Ooh, $100 came out to go to my European travel fund. Right. Is that a better way to do it, or is it better to have somebody that's hired and then maybe twice a year come in, sit down, and then say, oh, well, now we've set aside the $800 for the European travel fund, which mentally for most people is the better way of doing it.
Yeah, so I think you get both. And what I mean by that is even when you work with somebody like myself, you're going to get a quarterly statement, or you're going to have our app that we use called iTrack that has the savings listed for travel, that has the European trip, that has the opportunity. So you can see that whenever you want to log in, you'll see your accounts. Right, that can be a positive thing when the market's going up. And it can be that hit dopamine, right? Yep. But it can also be the opposite when the markets are going down. I have people like, I haven't looked at my statements, I put them away, that kind of thing. So it depends on the person. I don't think it necessarily needs to be just going through somebody like myself. I just think the main thing is people to get it done correctly. The advantage of working with somebody is they'll help you keep you on track to the goal. So they'll help you figure out how much you think you need for that trip and then keep track.
Yeah.
So people can name it and have their different accounts set up, and that's great. But I think that having an advisor help you with it just keeps you on track for it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll circle back to this here in a little bit.
All right.
See you
Thanks,
next time.